Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to do the tops, chops, traps and slaps for NRL Fantasy in round 5 of the 2024 season. So just a quick rundown of how it works. So good picks that we're going to bring in, tops. Good picks for us to trade out are going to be on the chopping block. Tradings that we're not so sure of could be a trap. And trade outs that we shouldn't be trading out, we need to give ourselves a slap. So, very much in the buy, hold, sell sort of frame, but just trying to mix it up a bit. So, as usual, we'll start with the hookers. So, Harry Grant, off his buy, is the top pick this week. Best hooker in the game, both in terms of fantasy and in probably NRL. So I think, you want to find a way to get him in as soon as possible. On the chopping block, we've gone with Joey Lussick. So, Brendan Hand sneaking back onto the bench, taking minutes away from Lussick. Maybe a bit too good to be true when he was sort of named to play 80 minutes a couple of weeks ago. But he's made some money. So, we'll take that and we'll move on. The trap this week, I've gone with Tyson Smoothie. Just, obviously scoring some tries and doing the business last week. It's not going to happen every week, so we don't want bench hookers in our team. And the slap this week is Blake Brayley. Probably not the most popular owned in fantasy, but we don't trade players just because they're on their buy. So, if you've got him, just hold him a week. Maybe there's an argument if you are going up to Harry Grant and that was a plan all along. Well, that probably makes sense. But other than that, I think you just hold. In the middles this week, the tops pick, I've gone with Jaden Hunt. So probably one that escaped the radar last week, being named to play on that edge for Brendan Piakura. And he did play 66 minutes against the Cowboys. Didn't score fantastic, but for what was, I'm pretty sure his first game of first grade, he did okay. He may have played last year, I can't fully remember. But, they do have Corey Oates on the bench, so it is a bit risky. But, I know there is some people that are, rage trading out of Sam Hughes or, there's a couple other people that need to go, such as our chop this week. So, I think if you are looking to downgrade, that, someone like Hunt could make a bit of money for you over the next few weeks. And then obviously reassess once Pierre Cora is ready to go back in the team. On the chopping block is one of those options that I was referring to that people need to get out of this week, and that's Satili Tupanua. So has been demoted to the bench. His minutes were shaky even before he was moved to the bench. Now probably even more so. We need to find an option. As I said, if you're downgrading, I'd go with Hunt. Probably Liam Henry as well is still a viable option for those that don't have him in the middle. Or obviously, if you can go up, that's the ideal for this week. In terms of the trap, I've gone with Ben Takora, so named on the bench to debut. They've only got the two middle forwards on the bench, which is good, but Xavier Wilson is probably only going to miss this week with the concussion, and then you imagine he'd come back in. There is an argument that Takura should get some time during Origin with Carrigan, Haas missing, so it's not the strongest trap. But I think, if you're looking to bring him in and expecting him to play a lot of minutes for a lot of games consistently, you will be disappointed. And the slap this week, I've gone with Adam Fanua-Blake. So, you don't want to trade out a gun, particularly in the middle when, we've got the likes of Haas out, Tino's out for the season. If you've got Fanua-Blake, he's going to cover the Origin period where others might have Isaiah Yeo, Cam Murray, Ruben Cotter, and the rest of those sort of guys. So if you've got Fanua-Blake, just hold. He's not going to score tries and that every week, but he does get a surprising amount for a front row forward. On the edge, so I think the hottest pick this week is Kai Pierce Paul, but I'm going to offer up a different suggestion for the top pick this week, and that's Sean Bloor from the Storm. So comes in at a cheaper price than Kai Pierce Paul is currently. Um, Cam Munster's back, so Sean Bloor's going to be running off of him, which can only mean good things. Um, Maybe some concern around fitness. Obviously, he missed a lot of preseason, hence why he sort of got eased in. They had Joe Chan play the first couple of games, while Bloor sort of recovered and then played a bit of Q Cup. But we know the talent. We were excited about him preseason when he moved to the Storm. So I think if you are looking for an edge to bring in this week, Sean Bloor is your guy. On the chopping block, we've gone with Zach Hosking, so out with concussion. Um, may still come back in once he comes back because Elliot Whitehead's got that injury. But I'd use this opportunity to cut and run. They do have a bye coming up in a couple of weeks, and if you've also got the likes of Fogarty, Strange, Danny Levi in some cases, you probably need to start filtering out a couple of the Raiders players. Um, and I think Zach Hosking is the obvious choice, given that he's not playing this week. The trap this week, I've gone with Jackson Ford. So I had a bit of a spike game last week, but I think he is priced at his average essentially. He's a good worker, but there's just no value in the pick. So for cheaper, you can get Sean Bloor, Kai Pierce Paul, offer a bit more value, a bit more upside. But you know, I do understand people like that solid base in the forwards, but I think we can definitely get more value at this point in time. And the slap this week, so not that he's the most popular ownership, but a few people getting out of Kurt Capewell. Um, he's only going to miss 1 week. Again, could argue you bring in Bloor, KPP, probably makes sense. Um, but you know, uh, if you've got him and you can hold, I would suggest you do so. In the halves, and so I've gone with Fogarty as the best trading option this week. Given there's quite a few outs, we've got Cleary still out, Hines is out on the bye, then we've had Metcalf go down injured, Galvin suspended. So a lot of the popular options are not there, and you may be scrambling for a half. So, he's one that was pretty popular preseason, and I sort of faded. I thought, well, I'll go with the established guns. But, he's looked really good in a team where he's had to sort of take the lead role. He absolutely has. So, yeah, if you're looking for someone, bring him in. But obviously, again, if you've got those guys that are playing in the bye in a few weeks, you may just want to sprinkle, the Raiders players not so liberally. On the chopping block, we've gone with Luke Metcalf. So obviously out long term with an injury. Um, so yeah, he's one you can trade out. Obviously, if you've got Galvin, he's a hold. Um, Cleary, as you can see on the slap list. So Metcalf's the obvious trade out. The trap, I've gone with Tyron Wishart. So he does have, the best break even in the game this week, but is on the bench, and that position at the Storm is super coach or fantasy poison even. Too many fantasy games going on. So yeah, so don't bring in Wishart this week just thinking, oh, I'll grab a bit of cash and that. He won't score enough points to justify bringing it in, and his break even will reset after that poor score. And as I said, the slap this week is Nathan Cleary. So, it's just going to cost you two trades because you're going to want to bring him back in after his bye in round 6. So just hold, do what you need to do to cover the halves, but trading out Cleary is not what you need to do. Onto the centres, and I guess the best buy this week again is Blaze Talangi from the Eels. So it looked pretty good at 5'8" from all reports. Um, Whether he gets that dual position centre halves in the near future would be nice, but you know you want to get on him this week before his price really sort of gets away. So yeah, find a way to bring him in and grab the cash. On the chopping block this week, I've gone with Nick Cottridge, so pretty popular, pretty highly owned, um, and still not named despite Albert Hopewadi missing. I've gone with James Schiller again, so it looks like he's fairly well down the pecking order. So you can obviously uh, dispose of him. The trap I've gone with Tommy Talau from the Seagulls. So not really been super coach relevant at any point. And playing Penrith this week is definitely not the time for that to happen. So he is cheap, he is dual position, but I would avoid. And on the slap list, I've gone with Taylor May. So a lot of people getting frustrated that he's not scoring, what we expected, but points will come, and you'll be kicking yourself if you trade him out, and then he goes off this week against Manly. So I'd hold if you're desperate for centre sort of position. And they've got the bye next week. Maybe you could go to Thlongi, but a lot of teams have Ethan Strange, Ben Travojevic still. If you bring in Thlongi, you've got enough cover to cover him for that bye week. I would suggest holding. And onto the wing fullbacks. So Ryan Pappenhausen off the bye is the tops pick this week. Um, he's got lots of money to make still. Um, he has the ceiling. He's always involved. You can always see him like following the play. Doesn't kick goals, but he could potentially if something happened to Nick Meaney. So that's always something to consider too. So yeah, if you haven't got Pappenhausen, now you can bring him in with confidence. Taintua picky on the chopping block. So some people may have held just hoping that CNK would be delayed, but doesn't appear to be the case. So you can get out of Tua picky this week if you didn't already do so. On the trap list, I've gone with James Schiller. So we just talked about Cottridge being further down the list, but I think Schiller's just a week to week prospect until such time that Albert Hopewadi is available. Um, Happy to be proven wrong, but and I could have put him or Taleo in wing or centre, wing fullback or centre because they both dual position, but it's just the way it fell. And Tommy Turbo I've got on the slap list, so he had one poor game. Don't throw the toys out of the cot. We all know what Tommy's capable of, so if you've got him, hold firm, don't trade him out. So yeah, that's the tops, chops, traps, and slaps for round five. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. If you enjoy the fantasy content, remember to give the video a like, subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel, and other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.